Hello everyone, SavXL here, and today we're going to be doing a review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S4. I've been using this tablet for the past 5 days, and I can definitely say it's without a doubt the most efficient device I've ever used. Everything that this tablet came with made for a very nice user experience, and I can say that it's definitely worth the price. The price tag may seem a little daunting at a massive $500, scarily enough being the same price as some mid-range phones nowadays, but I can say that it's definitely worth the price, and it's a high-end device. If it weren't for the Tab S6 existing, the Tab S4 would definitely be the most powerful tablet I could find. And I totally would have tried to go for the S6 if it weren't for the fact that it's way more expensive than the S4 and that there's no headphone jack. The specs are way more impressive than that of the S4 obviously, but a headphone jack is just mandatory for me. Now with the introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the specs. In this tablet, you'll find a Snapdragon 835 octa-core processor. Yes, this tablet does have 8 cores for its CPU. Half of them run at 2.4 GHz, and the remaining half run at 1.9. We have an Adreno 540 GPU that clocks up to 710 MHz, 4 gigs of LPDDR4X RAM. Now, apparently the Korean version of this tablet has 6 gigs of RAM, and if it weren't for the cost of importing and the fact that I don't speak Korean, I totally would have tried to get this version. There are 2 versions of this tablet, one with 64 gigs and one with 256. I have the 256 version here. But whichever version you have, there is a micro SD card slot with expansion up to 400 gigs. We have 802.11a, b, g, and AC Wi-Fi, so that means we have access to those 5 GHz connections, Bluetooth 5.0, Android 9.0, and access to Samsung DeX, which you can use on the system itself or on a monitor connected via USB-C. The screen is a Super AMOLED 10.5-inch display with a resolution of 1600 by 2560. 4 speakers, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, tuned by AKG with Dolby Atmos, a rear 13-megapixel camera capable of shooting in 4K 30, and an 8-megapixel front-facing camera capable of shooting in 1080p 30. The device does come with an S Pen, a built-in proximity sensor, GPS, and iris scanner. And last but not least is the 7300 mAh battery. Depending on what you're doing, this tablet will last a long time before it requires charging. Now, in terms of performance, I can't really do too many tests since I haven't really downloaded any games on this tablet besides Geometry Dash. Despite that, GD can be a very good stress tester, especially when trying to handle those object-heavy levels. So, let's go into GD and play some levels with a high object count. Keep in mind that I am using a no-clip APK for this stress test, purely for testing within this video only. But also keep in mind that I'm not logged into an account and that I'm playing these on a copyable. This no-clip version of GD will be installed by the time I stop recording since I don't want any false accusations to deal with. Starting off relatively small, we have Space Magic by Sponge without any LDM, totaling at around 47,000 objects. Sorry if you can hear the taps by the way. Playing it felt very nice and fluid, no dropped frames or anything. There was about a half-second lag spike at around 50%, but that was the only time the level actually lagged for me. Very solid performance so far. Next, we have Against the God by 1374, tolling at around 80,000 objects, aka the normal GD object limit. FYI, all of these levels were played with smooth fix disabled, so we can have that full playing experience. Whether I'm in a boss fight or not, the level never lagged once, and my device was still cool to the touch after the level was over. No overheated devices here. Ramping up the object count by more than double, we have BTD2 by Jonathan GD without LDM, totaling at around 117,000 objects. Even with having more than twice the objects as the previous level and running it without LDM, playing it was just as smooth as before. No dropped frames, and no device stuttering or overheating. Or heating of any sort, actually. Up next, we have Dark Travel, also by Jonathan, running without LDM or HDM, totaling at around 208,000 objects. I tried running the level with HDM, but it lagged hard at the duel at around 60%, hard enough to where I needed to exit the level. So it's either LDM or neither with this one. Without picking anything, or when picking LDM, the level runs very well. There were a few stutters every now and then, but nothing game-breaking or attempt-ruining. The device warmed up a small bit after playing this one, but the majority of the device was still very chill. Last but not least, we have the Eschaton by Zender Game, totaling at around 300,000 objects. I couldn't really enable the LDMs for this level since you're required to go into the editor first when dealing with copyables to unlock the option, and every time I tried going into the editor, my game crashed. So I had to play the actual level to assess how well this would perform, and so that I'd have access to the LDMs if need be. I enabled Ultra LDM from within the level since it lags at around 29% even with LDM, and everything was working perfectly smooth. I wasn't able to make it to any of the boss fights due to me having no experience with this level and not being able to get into the editor, but I was able to do it off screen, and yes, the boss fights lagged too, sadly. The device also got the slightest bit warmer after exiting the level, but just as last time, the majority of the device felt cool to the touch. Just a little side note, I made sure to record how long it took each level to load, and the results were pretty much what I expected. Space Magic took about 2.5 seconds to load with and without LDM. Against the God took about 10 seconds, but only 7 with LDM enabled. BTD2 about 6.5 seconds, Dark Travel 11.5, and last but not least, the Eschaton took about 20 seconds to load, but it was cut down to 16.5 with LDM enabled. So, what's my verdict for this tablet? Well, since I've never had a device nearly as powerful as this one, there's no way for me to fairly compare it to the devices I do have. What I can say is that this device serves multiple purposes, and for all of those purposes, this tablet works extraordinarily well. You can use it as a drawing tablet, a notepad, a multimedia device, a gaming tablet, and even as a desktop or laptop. So, would I recommend this device to you in 2020? Yes, I would. If you can find one used or refurbished for a lower price, say around $300 to $350, I'd say go for it. It'd be a steal compared to the $500 my family spent on it on eBay, and the $650 retail cost. If not having a headphone jack is something you don't have an issue with, or if you have a USB-C to headphone jack dongle, then I'd say your money is more well spent on the Tab S6. If you're willing to pay $700 to $850 for more powerful specs, a slightly larger display, and support for 1TB micro SD card expansion. If you couldn't tell, most of the entire video was scripted except for the outro, which is why the outro was not as, fluid as everything else was. But I've never done a review before, so if you guys can't take my word for it, there are other reviews, such as the review of this tablet by Edda Prime. Very good, which the video was the driving focus on why I wanted to get this tablet in the first place. Regardless, thank you guys very much for watching the video. First time I've ever done something like this. If you guys want, I can do an emulation test before I make the video showing how to root this device. If you guys want me to do that, then get this video to 20 likes. If it can get to 20 likes, I'll do the emulation test. And if that video can also get 20 likes, then I'll do the video showing how to root this device. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I love you guys. Peace.